So welcome to Aftermath versus Vietnam B. Aftermath, MbL and Nicov did play in the first two polls. They had a backup player by the name of Hera, but ever since then Hera became a big name, potentially bigger than the other two players of Aftermath in that team, and he teamed up with Leary. With that, we had MbL, Nicov and Hera winning 2 polls 1. It was one of the best grand finals I've ever seen. It was a best of 7 that went to 7 games, and Aftermath won versus back then Team Secret Viper Taro in that grand finals. Other side, Vietnam B, a team that is often overlooked, a strong team when it comes to team games. BadBoy has had some very good performances in recent events, but it's more about the fact that when he's playing ranked, he's mostly playing team games. They are experts of Nomad, but we don't have Nomad in the map pool. What we have is Coast to Mountain, and as you see over here on the draft overlay, Coast to Mountain is the ban of Aftermath. The reason why they banned it is, I believe, because they know that their opponents are very good at Nomad, even though Coast to Mountain is not completely the same as traditional Nomad, but still. Other side is a Cape of Storms ban. We have a Kawasan and Forest Pond for Aftermath, and BadBoy+SongSong will be playing with land maps, Eruption and Team Acropolis. It's definitely interesting that they went for those maps, because I would think that Aftermath is stronger on land maps, so I would have thought that you try something like Team Islands, you try something like potentially Forest Pond yourself. We will see what MbL+Nicov has planned for Forest Pond, because that's not a map that they played very frequently. With that being said, I believe we should take a look at the draft as well. Double Frank's ban, it is possible to do that because you actually have hidden parallel bans. So when you're banning, you don't know what the opponent is banning. You will only have it revealed after your opponent has banned as well. Viking's early pick for Aftermath, I wonder if that could be in relation to potentially Forest Pond. Vikings would be an interesting one over there to think about. Maybe Fast Castle Longboats could be something. Indians, Lithuanians, Japanese, Mayans, that's a very strong pool one for AM, I believe. Burgundians, Incas, Vietnamese, Teutons, Goths will be their civs over there. Giving Incas to MbL+Nicov could be interesting, that's for sure, especially considering that recently Nicov played super aggressive Inca games in many tournaments. Other side, Chinese, Britons, Berbers, Persians, Khmer for the first pool of Vietnam. Chinese being the first pick is no surprise, it's a super versatile civ to play with. We will have Sicilians, Burmese, Koreans, interestingly, Celts and Spanish as the civs. Many FC unique unit civs. I think Korean, Spanish and Burmese all available to Vietnam could be problematic. I think Arabia could be something like Spanish Britons, although Spanish might go for Forest Pond. But I think that Koreans is actually slightly better for Forest Pond. Or it could be Spanish and then you go Korean archers on Arabia and you open with something like Khmer on Arabia or so. Having Chinese in your first pool helps quite a bit because, as I said, that allows you to go for either archers with cavalry on them. So the versatility is definitely there. Indians is an early pick for Aftermath, indeed is a bit surprising, but it's a strong cavalry civ in 2v2. So with that being said, we are good to go to jump into game number 1. So please welcome Vietnam B and Aftermath Gaming on stage, the previous champions of 2 pools tournament, MbL and Nicov, coming in here with MbL on the right side as red, with Lithuanians. To the left is going to be Vietnamese for Nicov in yellow, and you see the ping from Nicov and you see the scout of MbL. In 2 pools 1, when Vietnamese didn't have any good eco bonus whatsoever, Vietnamese is one of the first civs selected to pool 2 because they were so bad. The 2 worst civs in 2 pools 1 was Vietnamese and Khmer. Both of these are now very good, and you see that even in 2 pools 1, the biggest thing that Vietnamese did was know where the opponent starts at. and that is why they picked it over here. MbL comes in immediately with the lane, didn't find a single board. You know exactly, SongSong knows exactly as well that his opponent is coming in here for a lame, so he brings in the first board fast. MbL wasn't able to find a board, but he lames 3 sheep from the opponent, which is already a decent start. Other side, however, BadBoy is a big lamer himself, and he's going to lame Nicov here. Nicov is playing Vietnamese in yellow, and we will see if he spots this lame attempt. I think he did, because he's firmly running back, and he indeed saw his board being stolen. On the north, we'll have BadBoy playing as Britons in yellow, and a Spanish opening for our green player, SongSong in green. I don't know what's up with the Nord, by the way, in MbL's name. I would be massively surprised if this was in relation to NordVPN, because MbL is getting sponsored by a different VPN, Surfshark. By the way, speaking of Surfshark, I'm also sponsored by them, so if you use the exclamation mark VPN, you can get a very, very good discount on Surfshark VPN. With that being said, we are gonna have the board successfully lamed over here. I also am very proud of my 5000 IQ sellout over here, because that was a seamless transition overall. So, with that being said, there was 3 goats lamed away from our green player, but MbL didn't collect 4 of his, so SongSong could easily counter lame him, but apparently that isn't really the case. In fact, what is SongSong up to? SongSong is just up to pushing deer. This is interesting. He just believes that his opponent probably already collected the herdable, so he's not even going to bother trying to lame. Robo says it was a joke tag with some friends that he forgot to remove. I see. I see. I do know that MbL's, I think, playing in some sort of university team for a CSGO championship or something like that. Could be in relation to that. I heard him talking about this in one of his streams. Regardless, it doesn't really matter, because MbL is still MbL. So, with that, MbL is gonna have a nice head start over his opponent here. Lithuania starting with more food, going for a fast feudal age. It's a 19 pop feudal from MbL, whereas Spanish already have a weak eco. They don't actually have any eco bonus working for them, really, and it looks like BadBoy is sending some sheep to his teammate. Interesting. This is good teamwork from them, although you gotta be careful, because MbL might just lame those sheep once again. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, the idea was great from BadBoy. BadBoy lamed the board from Nicov, so he sent 2 sheep to his teammate, because he didn't need that many sheep, and he was like, okay, it helps my teammate. But it looks like BadBoy just sent them somewhere around the base of SongSong, and then MbL's going to lame 2 more. Oh my. BadBoy was probably like, okay, I'm gonna send you 2 sheep, but SongSong didn't really bother collecting them, or he didn't see them whatsoever, and MbL's just gonna be like, okay, that's 2 more sheep. So at the end, the Vietnamese team lost 5 sheep, but they took 1 board. That's sort of a bit of a win, I would say, for Aftermath. So with that, we have a Drush coming in from BadBoy. Looks like he's gonna go for a Drush FC here, because he's walling very heavily, not planning to go up into Castle Age just yet. Brings in the militias. Borak coming in just now for a Nicov in yellow. We already have a scout bashing their way through the walls. And what is this? Oh, we have some trickery over here. It looks like it's not gonna be scouts from SongSong. This looks very much like an FC. Anything else would be kind of suicidal. He doesn't have stones, so it's not FC Conquistadors. It looks like just a naked fast castle into knights against the Lithuanian player. Could be caused by the fact that he did get lamed pretty heavily, so he didn't want to go for scouts against Lithuanians, as that is BadBoy taking the first villager kill of the game. Nicov losing one over there against the blue player. So that's a good start for our Vietnamese team over here. And as I said, you shouldn't sleep on them, as Nicov now has his fuel agent, so he's going to take down that scout. But still, the idea... There's no overchop. There is no overchop there. Nicov notices in time for now. MbL scouts still trying to bash their way through the walls, and it looks like we're gonna have a couple more scouts here as well. But considering that these militias are delaying Nicov, this will mean that there is no archer support to this. So SongSong can actually wall behind. And this is a very, very decent teamwork over here from SongSong and BadBoy. Food count is looking fairly decent for SongSong, but I'm not sure if he's gonna have enough to click up to Castle Age right away. A very nice start, I would say, from Vietnam. A ballsy move, but I like it. Drushing the archers player means that he's going to be a little bit delayed as well. You see that if there was 3 archers here, this would be impossible for SongSong to defend. But currently MbL only has scouts and he can't get through those walls. And because of that, this naked fast castle works nicely for SongSong. He's going to be a little bit low on food, so we might see stone being sold and go for stable knights immediately. With selling stone this could work, although considering he wants to go for knights, it should be blacksmith stable, but as I said, he needs to balance his eco a little bit, so it's market stable. He's hiding this stable right now, though you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winning scientist to figure out that that's gonna be a stable with Spanish and not a range. So with that, the militias are still lurking around. MbL is still far from Castle Age though, and this could be troublesome. He's playing wide open, so is his teammate. So those early knights could actually start causing a lot of chaos. SongSong, it looks like he's not selling stone, he's just gonna buy 100 food and that's it. He might need to go for defensive tower though, because now his gold mine is getting pushed, and that's going to start becoming a bigger and bigger problem. I feel like he underestimated the chance of archers hitting his gold mine. Castle Age is still far away from him. He's gonna go for defensive tower. That's the right thing to do here, I believe. He will still need to make a blacksmith for at least +1 defense. With only 1 archer and Spanish builders, this tower should have no trouble going up. Militia still lurking around over here, 1 archer chasing them for now. And Castle Age is also coming in for BadBoy, so it's double Castle Age play from the Vietnamese team in this one. MbL is now on gold. He won't make more scouts, and considering that he actually had a very, very nice lane at the beginning, had quite a lot of extra sheep, you see, he's just now running out of sheep, which is crazy. Might even buy himself up to Castle Age, so he's only gonna be like a minute and a half behind. But that's still quite a lot of time for a Spanish player to do damage with knights, and you should also not forget the fact that we have faster working Britain ranges here, and they should be able to hit our Vietnamese player with crossbows pretty soon as well. Nice moves from Nicov to try and deny as many wood lines as he can. You see that there's an archer harassing this wood line, there's archers denying these wood lines, and it looks like we're gonna have no blacksmith just yet for SongSong. He prioritizes the second stable, which is the right thing to do, I believe. Just 2 knights will clean up these archers, and then you can afford a blacksmith. Still, militias will just do some scouting. Not so much of a problem right now for Nicov. And the archers already heading out. It's only 5 archers, and fletching will be in there for them. I think BadBoy will be able to afford the crossbow as well, not Botkin most likely. Castle Age is in for SongSong, and this is the time to shine for them. MbL is on the way to Castle Age, but he has 2 minutes to wait until he reaches castle. And until then, his base is very exposed. You see, he's rushing up walls immediately. He knows that, oh boy, we're actually beaten to Castle Age here really badly. And the biggest problem for Nicov is that he could lose his archers to the knights. So, just a couple of knights picking off archers here, and archers are very valuable units in 2v2. You don't want to lose 6-7 archers early game to pushes like this. Crossbows might be hitting Nikov's eco here as well, trying to reinforce his walls. There's a low HP villager there. No ballistics just yet for those crossbows, so they won't actually kill much. But you could send 2 or 3 knights this way and get through the walls, and they will also intercept Nikov's archers, so Nikov's gonna be down to 0 archers. And yes, MbL is gonna be in castle, but it's basically Castle Age versus Castle Age, even though MbL's eco is probably gonna be better for knights production. But Nicov is still Fuel Age. Nicov is still Fuel Age here, second TC coming in for BadBoy just now. This is looking really good for Vietnam B. And I did mention that you shouldn't sleep on them being a potential surprise civilization, or surprise, not civilization, but surprise team in tournament. MbL went for a lot of scouts here with bloodlines, so the reason why is because these crossbows now have botkin, but there is not a lot of crossbows. So he wasn't expecting knights to show up here. Without knights, these scouts would actually clean up the crossbows and help Nicov. Here in this case, you just send in your knights and you clean up those scouts very, very easily. And Nicov, by the way, he's on stone, so you could think about Rattan archers immediately. He's only one range, but I mean, he's still far from Castle Age at this point. Nice defense from Nicov, by the way, stonewalling his left side as well. There is still no upgrades on those knights, by the way, from SongSong, which hurts quite bad. Not even bloodlines, not even any blacksmith upgrade. It's not like it matters that much right now. By the way, Nicov has a beautiful base, so back wood line, back gold mines, these are all extremely important to keep himself alive for the time being. MbL has quite a lot of scouts on the field, but you can actually count that as sort of wasted food as well, because at the end of the day, those scouts won't really be super efficient, especially against knights, although they are at least having upgrades, whereas SongSong's knights have nothing, absolutely nothing. No scale barding, no attack upgrades, absolutely nothing. Nicov is on the way to Castle Age, but he's got no farming eco now, and honestly, no villagers close to the TC. You could run through the TC fire with knights and hit the opponent that way. You could even try running past the TC with the crossbows right now. There's just no one to garrison the TC. 2 villagers aren't enough, and you see that BadBoy is actually going to try and think about that. They take down the range, which is a nice value over there. Knights from MbL have a +1 defense, and the bloodlines, still no upgrades for SongSong, which starts to be worrisome, I would say. Still, it is 19 crossbows against 1 archer, 8 knights versus 13. This is looking very good for Vietnam, and now they might switch completely towards MbL. 2 TCs, by the way, as well for BadBoy. 2 TCs as well for MbL. We'll have 2 TCs coming in for SongSong as well. Still no upgrades coming in for him. A little bit sloppy to lose a couple of crossbows to the scouts and knights. That's not something that you want to see. But MbL's only wood line could be exposed to crossbows, and that's a disaster from him. That's a disaster. It looks like he's taking a rather disadvantageous fight over here as well. It still bothers my mind that we're not seeing a single unit upgrade from SongSong in this one. And let's take a look at Vietnam's scouting. They don't know much about MbL's base. So with that, they are gonna go for the stable. If they had a slightly better scouting, then they would be able to see that there is only one wood line over there, and they should be able to take it down pretty easily. Still, the stable is gonna go down from MbL, and MbL's at 16. MbL's at 11 knights and 5 scouts, 16 knights for his opponent. The stable goes down really fast here. Ballistics now for BadBoy, and with that being said, chain barding now for MbL. Why is SongSong not getting upgrades? He now has +1 defense, finally. By the way, Nicov went for Rattan archers. The problem is that, how do you actually stop this push over here? The Rattans, you need quite a lot of time to train them, and just a couple of Rattan archers won't actually help you that much, because you need numbers here, above all. Rattan archers will be great against the crossbows. The problem that you're facing is that 27 crossbows and 18 knights is still better than 13 knights and 4 Rattans, especially the 4 Rattans is troublesome. And faster working Britain ranges will just mean that you get outnumbered in archer numbers. And if you don't have good archer numbers, the cavalry will just jump on them and finish them off. The second stable goes down as well. Really, SongSong and BadBoy are doing some damage, but I feel like they could just do a lot more damage than they're doing right now. So, 2 TCs for SongSong, 3 TCs already for BadBoy. They do have a 12 villagers lead, 2 TCs for both Aftermath players, and this is the moment when they find the wood line. So MbL is going to start losing some farming space over here. Already MbL is down to 15 villagers on food, which isn't really great. They now target the blacksmith. Keep in mind that Lithuanians could be dangerous as they pick up relics. Scouts will try to pick up a couple of straggler archers, but that's not really going to work well for MbL anymore. Crossbows will just pick them off. So it looks like they are just trying to cause some damage on the perimeter, but I don't really like the fact that they're just letting MbL sit here behind this one. Now there's Rattan Archers. You could send in the cavalry to intercept those Rattan Archers. See the blue ping from BadBoy and SongSong, and I feel like, as I said, they could have done a lot more damage here. They took down 2 stables and 1 archer range. They could have actually just run past Nikov's TC and finish him off potentially, or send 1 knight this way to check what's here, and figure out that MbL only had 1 wood line. This could have been punished so badly. 3 Britain crossbows here and MbL has no wood income. MbL has no wood income means no stables for him, and he would just be losing those. Just a couple of crossbows here would have been so helpful. Still, if you get some knights over there from SongSong, who has decent upgrades now, you could intercept the Rattans, and as I said, replenishing Rattans is much harder than replenishing the crossbows. Imperial Age coming in for BadBoy. He's free TCs, he's going in, he's holding this here right now, and what they're trying to do is just make sure that it is impossible for MbL+Nicov to group up their army. They're slowly taking down this building, and that's not something to underestimate. I mean, MbL doesn't want to lose that TC, and if they spot the Rattans, that would be a disaster. They spot the Rattans, you don't need to send all your cavalry. In fact, you should make sure that you don't send all, because then your own crossbows will be exposed. But sending in a couple of knights like that, being able to pick off Rattans, is an excellent find for our green player. Rattans, as I said, are extremely hard to replenish. They will be able to clean up these knights, but they scare those Rattans all the way back to Nikov's base. You see that? Too many Rattans going down, and they just had to retreat so much. And it looks like knights will now dive in. They will spot MbL's knights, and you don't want to lose that blob of crossbows before upgrading them to arbs, that's for sure. So you gotta disengage from this one. There is 1 extra attack on SongSong's knights compared to MbL's knights. MbL expanding to 3 TCs, 4 TC coming in just now for BadBoy. SongSong still just going for knights, 28 to 25 is the numbers now, so MbL caught up in knight numbers. Still 1 minute away from Imperial. This might be a time to call a retreat for Vietnam, to wait until they hit Arbalest. If they get to Arbalest and they have like 36 arbs on the field, this is gonna be insanely hard for Aftermath to stop. Still, there is 30 seconds away for Imperial Age. A little bit of a miscommunication. Could be dangerous for those archers, and this is the time when you jump on those Rattans. You see them, you target them, and you take them down. Because the cavalry is not really close for MbL, that's a bit of a miscommunication for MbL and Nicov. Imperial Age is in, so Aftermath knows exactly that they have to take this fight right now. Vietnam knows that they have to retreat. I think, considering that there is +2 defense over there, you will need arbs here, and this is the decider fight of the game. You have to be able to kill the Rattans with the knights. Even Bracer is enough here for BadBoy. If he's able to take down the knights with Bracer crossbows, they win this fight, and I think they do. They do because Bracer is now in, and Bracer crossbows will just melt the knights, and it's a very, very nice unit control from Vietnam. They actually sandwiched the Rattans in between the knights, and they didn't allow the Rattans to take down the orbs. Very nicely done by Vietnam. And I did mention that you gotta be careful with this team here, because they are not gonna go down easily. MbL+Nicov losing Arabia here. So, with that, we are gonna have a beautiful KD for SongSong, 48 to 17, very, very nicely intercepting the Rattan Archers. We're gonna have BadBoy with the best eco overall. Technology-wise, really the fast castles worked well for BadBoy and SongSong, and MbL+Nicov seemed like they were unprepared for just a naked FC from SongSong, and that helped so much. That castle, each timing was just extremely crucial. So, with that, we are gonna take a look at the draft, and we will go to the first home map of Aftermath, which will be Kawasan or Forest Pond. Now, here's the deal. Do you think that Aftermath likes those maps? I would think that those home maps don't necessarily fit their style, and someone apparently won a huge amount of channel points on betting on Vietnam. That's why it's sometimes worth it to bet on underdogs, because, oh my lord, that's a lot of channel points. Vietnam B winning game number 1 over here. So we're either going to Kawasan or we are going for Forest Pond. It looks like it is going to be a Kawasan pick from MbL and Nicov. A map that is usually played in 1v1s, but before we jump in there, I think it's wise to hear the words of Barbecue Turkman about this map.
Each player begins between two small lakes filled with deep sea fish. The open landscape is rich in resources, encouraging expansion, but is highly susceptible to raiding. The true wealth of resources on Kawasan is found in the center of the map. A huge amount of forage bushes can push a player's economy into overdrive, provided they can defend it. Players find themselves with multiple choices and strategic options. Do they commit to fishing ships, bunker down with walls around their town center, or push out to the resource-rich map center? Starting resources are standard, wolves are scattered across the map as normal, and all relics are found in the center of the map, alongside the forage bushes.
With that, I believe we are ready to go with a game number 2. So we'll jump into Kawasan, a Japanese themed inspired map. A map that was very frequently played in Red Bull tournaments, one of the favorite maps of the players over there. Kawasan in 2v2 is actually slightly different from 1v1. In 1v1, you only have 2 pawns, but basically, the way Kawasan is scripted is that you always have 2 pawns per, or 1 pawn per player, basically. So for 4 players, you do have 4 pawns over here, and indeed, I think during the qualifiers, Nilly asked, why is this tournament called 2 pools when there is obviously 4 pools? And indeed, that is a legitimate question right now on this one. So we're gonna have cold colors, BadBoy and SongSong. SongSong playing in a blue Persians to the south. We're gonna have Celts for BadBoy in green, something that he loves to play. We'll have yellow for Nicov. No, it's actually yellow for MbL. They switched colors. These evil creatures, man. I'm not going to let them switch colors. We're just going back to the original ones. We don't want to confuse viewers over here. So Burgundians for MbL in red, and we are gonna have Japanese for Nicov in yellow. Japanese, absolute top tier civilization for this map. Here with the fishing available. You always have 1 safe pawn for the teams, so one is in between you and your teammate. And you always have 1 contested pawn for each player, so one is in between you and your opponent. So you see 1 contested pawn here, 1 contested pawn here, and then 1 safe pawn for each of the teams. On Kawasan, you always have the berries in the middle, which sometimes makes Franks a reasonable option here. You also have a bunch of relics in the middle, but the thing is that Aztecs are not necessarily that much viable here. Lithuanians would have been an interesting choice here, to be honest. So, we're gonna have a backwood line for SongSong. I have to say that SongSong's map isn't looking ideal. If you just look at this, well, this is a bad map, let's just say that. Only 1 wood line at the back. The berries are at the back, which is definitely a nice thing to have, but gold super exposed. You would need to do some walling, let's say that, to secure this map over here for yourself. A lot better volability for a Nicov. MbL is also playing super duper open, so it looks like both teams have 1 player that gets somewhat screwed over, so to say, by the map generation. At least MbL has a gold map at the back, and also a volleyball base for BadBoy. So I would think it's fairly balanced. There is 1 player from both teams that have a pretty awful map. At the end of the day, we will have BadBoy and MbL docking the same pond over here. We will have Nicov docking this pond. So it looks like Aftermath is not going for the safe pond over here. They will just go for the 2 contested ponds, and we'll have a safe pond control for SongSong. So he's gonna go for some small wars. He has a backup gold over here. And have I missed the stolen boar? It's very possible. Potato caster over here. And yes, indeed, MbL apparently successfully lamed the boar. If you are telling me this. There is 2 boars over here, and there's a 3rd one as well. So what didn't succeed in the previous game, MbL laming a boar, will be successful now. It was only a 1-hit lame as well. Only lost 10 HP on that scout. So MbL was able to lame away a boar from the opponent. I don't think that we always have to rewind for that though, because let's be honest, MbL stealing boars is something that we already got used to. So we're gonna have a relatively fast fuel age here from MbL, and I really wonder what he's up to with Burgundians here though. He's 6 on wood, which means he will go for fire galley fights, that's sure. The real question is, what is he gonna do against Celts here? Because Celts actually is a reasonable water civilization for such a map, and the reason why is because you have a good wood income because of Celtic lumberjacks, so you're actually capable of getting ships out fairly consistently. We have a barracks being built with 3 villagers even, so we may see a man-at-arms opening here from BadBoy sending quite a lot of villagers on gold over there. We got Woz mostly finished by SongSong. He's gonna have an untouched fish boom, although it looks like Nicov is going to sneak a villager over here, and that is why they didn't go for the back pond. They just want to make sure they fight water. That's it. So they want to fight on this pond, they want to fight on this pond, and they want to fight on this pond. So that's why they didn't go for a safe pond themselves. So we're gonna have villagers being added to berries, which means that BadBoy probably doesn't want to fight on water. I wonder if he knows that there is docks on that pond, and he does. So there is a chance that he won't even fight on water, otherwise he wouldn't be building a mill here, instead he would be building a second dock. Second dock coming in just now as well for Nicov, and SongSong has no idea that this is going to happen. An additional side effect of picking Japanese here for Nicov is that even if his pond gets pushed, he's gonna have very sturdy fishing ships that are hard to kill. We will have the men-at-arms marching forward already, or right now it's just militias, but they will soon be men-at-arms, I believe, when BadBoy is able to afford it. Let's see what MbL does to react to that. MbL saw the barracks, so he probably knows that there is gonna be some aggression coming his way, and this is the moment where SongSong is telling his teammate, look, I'm actually getting docked over here. You have the Persian faster working docks for you, but no fire galleys out just yet for SongSong. In fact, SongSong actually went for scouts, and he's not on gold, which means that he's going to lose his fishing eco really fast over here. Men-at-arms getting to MbL's woodline, though the wars weren't finished in time, and they pick off 1 villager. That's a nice start of the game. So with that, we're gonna have another villager potentially going down here for MbL. Saves the villager to the TC. Fishing ships are gone for SongSong, so they are behind by 7 eco. And the fishing boom as the villager also goes down to the fire galleys like that. So the fish boom is going to give an insanely good eco for MbL+Nicov, but they have to be careful because one thing they do not have is army on the land, and they might just get overrun on land here, as BadBoy is trying to block that villager over here, picks off another one, so MbL loses 2 on land. Still, he has the fishing eco working for him, so even though this is a nice find from BadBoy and SongSong, they are not actually going to be capable of pushing MbL lower than his actual villager count. So now it's gonna be full fish boom from Nicov though, and I feel like Nicov is the real beneficiary of this entire game right now. MbL is the punching bag, so he's the one that is fighting against 2 opponents, one with scouts, one with men-at-arms, but Nicov has a completely untouched fish boom with Japanese here. and that's not something that you should underestimate. So you got 5 fishing ships over here, you got 2 over here as well. And at this point, if MbL doesn't completely die to this one, Nicov is gonna have a crazy castle age timing and probably go for knights. That's usually what Japanese do on these hybrid maps when they are able to go for an untouched fish boom. This dock is slowly going down. Apparently SongSong isn't really bothering trying to contest this one anymore. And with that, it looks like Vietnam is completely losing control over water, and that already means they're behind by 13 Voyagers, make it 15. So the eco advantage for AM suddenly becomes insanely big. 16 Voyagers lead already, mostly coming from the fishing eco over there. And we have a market coming in for MbL. MbL is actually very heavy on gold, so I wonder if he wants to buy himself a castle age, something that Nicov could think about as well. Nicov apparently goes for crossbows instead of knights, going for a raid just now. Still no market, which delays his fuel age time or castle age time a little bit. But anyways, he's gonna have the galleys on the shoreline. I like this quite a bit. He actually adds a galley on this spawn, and I would assume he will add a galley here as well, to prevent the opponent from redocking. At this very moment, AM controls 3 pawns, and Nicov, all he needs to do is just not die to the feudal age aggression. Because with that, he's gonna have a massive castle age lead. MbL also is going for gill nets, so he's gonna go for a crazy fish boom himself. MbL has feudal age eco upgrades, but no castle age just yet with Burgundians. We will have archers coming in for Nicov, which means he will be playing with crossbows. But SongSong is also going to castle age, and Persian knights are actually very good against the crossbows of any civilization, because they do extra damage against them. So this is still going to be a little bit tough for Nicov if he has to just play 1 versus 2 crossbowmen. Because one thing that MbL doesn't have is castle age. Isn't Gilnets a castle age tech? It's Burgundians, my friend. It's Burgundians. So with that, we're gonna have the dock going down from SongSong. Now officially AM has 3 pawns to work with. They didn't actually go for the safest pawn of all, but eventually they might end up going for it. So, Castle Age will soon come in for BadBoy, and MbL is also getting close to clicking up to Castle Age. They have a 22 Voyagers lead right now coming from that fishing eco. So, another defensive tower for MbL, I like this quite a bit, protecting this wood line. In fact, he has 3 defensive towers, 2 protecting wood lines and 1 protecting gold mines. BadBoy was trying to hit the wood line, but that wasn't successful, and it looks like MbL is going to pick up faster to Castle Age than BadBoy will. It's also worth noting that BadBoy is going to have to go for archers here, but actually has quite a decent amount of archers. So this could still work out well, although Burgundian Cavalier will be extremely dominant in this one. Still, the tricky part comes now for Aftermath. They are running out of fish in these ponds. And you see that Nikov's food eco is entirely based on fishing. If he suddenly runs out of food on the ponds, he's not gonna have any kind of food income. So he has to be careful with this, because suddenly he could run out of food. He still has quite a lot of fish in this pond, but like this is like half of his food eco that could be idle in a matter of moments. Scale boarding for MbL just now. We got a forward workshop though from SongSong pushing Nicov. Nicov is up to Castle Age, but there is no cavalry support. And no mangonels either to defend. So this would be the moment where you just bring in your mangonels as the blue player and start pushing Nikov's base. Nicov is going to be on 3 TC soon. And he's going to go for defensive siege workshop. Crossbows soon coming in from BadBoy as well. He's 1 minute away from Castle Age right now. Defense siege workshop is up. We'll have some more archers moving through the middle for BadBoy. Army numbers are slightly better for Vietnam. That's something that we have to give them. Although MbL is up to Castle Age, goes for immediate Cavalier. But he doesn't have +2 defense right now. So we'll see how good those Cavalier will be. The Cavalry on the other side have +2 defense and Bloodline, so they're actually fairly well upgraded in here. There is a siege workshop, and that's going to be spotted by SongSong. So he knows that he could try sniping mangonels that are coming out on that side. It looks like that's going to be the case as well. Nicov pops out the mangonel on the wrong side, and he loses that immediately. Keeps repairing the TC overall. And I'm not sure how long he can keep that TC up. He's waiting for MbL to arrive, but even if MbL is here, MbL's gonna have like 3 or 4 knights against quite a lot of crossbows over here from our green player. Nicov still keeping the TC alive for the time being. No repair villager is in from SongSong, who's going for mangonel number 4 now. It's worth noting that both BadBoy and SongSong play a lot versus Hoang, so they really know how to make these mangonel pushes happen. They have a big experience with this. This is a bad move though. This is a bad move from BadBoy. He runs into the crossbows and oh boy, that hurts so much. That's like 10 crossbows lost. And with that, there isn't really that much that defends these mangonels from MbL's cavalry. You need all those crossbows over there to defend. Otherwise, you're actually in sort of a big trouble. So, mangonels now shelling the TC over here. Knights will actually commit to the crossbows. This is dangerous for Vietnam because those mangonels are massively mispositioned. Oh boy. This is why I was somewhat scared about those mangonels lost, or those crossbows lost, because you needed all those crossbows to try and pick off MbL's knights, and it looks like he waits for a critical mass, and now this is a 40 volt lead for AM, and they will have a fairly decisive advantage in this one, even though they haven't won this entirely. But the fact that that mangonel push stalled out hurts them, or well, helps them a lot, and hurts Vietnam obviously. So those cavalry now +1/+1, but they also have the extra 2 attack from the cavalier. Whereas on the other side you only have 20 crossbows. Most of them are not on the field, reinforcements are just now coming in. Still, you have to be careful with this, because these narrow choke points allow BadBoy and SongSong to take some very good engagement with the crossbows. Nicov is a little bit slow catching up with his own crossbows, no defense upgrades on those. And it looks like MbL wants a monastery in the middle for all the relics, which makes sense. If you have map control, pick up 5 relics. That's an easy gold source for you. Still, nice moves over there from BadBoy. In the choke points, picking off quite a lot of cavalry from MbL. Still, it's only 3 knights versus 9 cavalier, and that's the problem for Vietnam. So, it's one thing that they are behind by 40 eco. The bigger problem that they're facing is they don't have any army on the field. They just get overrun by the better fish boom, and they wanted to go for a land heavy game, but if you do that, you gotta go for a super duper aggressive fuel age. If that doesn't happen, then you're pretty much dead, because your opponent will just outboom you crazily. So at this moment, it is gonna be about 15 army remaining for BadBoy and SongSong. They tap out, and Kawasan will fall into the hands of MbL and Nicov, striking back after Arabia. And you see why they picked this map. They felt confident that they can do a very good water boom, and indeed that's the case. So the water boom propelled them to victory. If you just look at the overall, either their population share is fairly relevant, but the eco, 20k and 17k resources as opposed to 15 and 14k overall, especially Nikov's food count is, I think, super relevant in this case. 10,000 food as opposed, or that's food, potato. Still, the food count is brutal as well. So 7k food for both players, 5 and 6k respectively. So the opponent's cavalry player had like 1.3k more food than the opponent. Obviously, that helps quite a lot, making cavalry. And with that, Aftermath strikes back, and we will have an even series, which brings us to one of the home maps of Vietnam B, Eruption, or Team Acropolis. So Eruption is just like Gold Rush. Team Acropolis is a map that wasn't featured in 2.1. It was played in 2v2 World Cup though, and we decided that it's a good map, so we could use it as well. Berbers And maybe Korean seems like a good combination for Eruption, I would say. Team Acropolis could very well be Khmer and Burmese. And then lastly, something like Chinese Sicilians, maybe for Forest Pond. I'm not really a fan of that for Vietnam B. Other side, we have Vikings still available. I would think that's gonna be the safe for Forest Pond because they went for Vikings super early. Indians could be a safe for Team Acropolis because you want to go for the late game with the Indian heavy cavalry. That could be an interesting one over there. Something like Indians and maybe even Goths. Vikings and Incas or Teutons for Forest Pond. And I would think Teutons Mayans will be the safes for Eruption. Teutons Mayans seem fairly decent. So let's see what Vietnam B chooses as their first home map. We will have game number 3 coming in, and it is Eruption. And you have an interesting combination of civilizations over here. Not something I expected, I'm going to admit. We will jump into game number 3. Vietnam B versus MbL+Nicov Aftermath Gaming. We will take a look at Eruption. And Eruption, as I said, is just like Goldmine, but with much greater elevation. We will have BadBoy as Koreans in blue, and SongSong as green Berbers. Berbers, one of the best civilizations in 2v2 World Cup on this map. Other side, we will have Nicov playing as Indians in yellow and Goths for MbL in red. An interesting combo of civilizations for this map, that's for sure. I'm not really certain what they're planning to do over here, because I think this map is really not about the post-imp big fight, it's more about securing the gold in the middle. That being said, Gods can still be a dangerous civilization on any map. We'll see if MbL goes for some kind of boar laming strategy once again. An ambitious war here from BadBoy, I might add, that sending a Voyager out with 25 HP here to make 2 houses is somewhat ballsy, I would say. And he also has a somewhat interesting start if you take a look. He only made 1 house, so he sent out the Voyager early for 2 houses so he can use this as part of his war. Makes some sense, as MbL is definitely looking for something to lame. He runs into a TC fire for now, but doesn't lose any significant HP on that scout, and he's looking for the Voyager. He's looking for the Voyager block. MbL coming in with the laming attempt once again. BadBoy is gonna have to bring back his scout to be able to... Oh, MbL wanted to lame that boar. You could see that he actually hit the boar, but oh my goodness, MbL. If this is the first time you're seeing MbL, then Nicov. Oh, look at all these lames. Where am I looking even? BadBoy is laming MbL, Nicov is laming SongSong, and MbL just killed the Voyager from the opponent. Now MbL is laming. It's a triple lame. It's a triple lame, and the funny thing is that no one's gonna win with this, really. Like, BadBoy's gonna have his boar back, basically. MbL's gonna be like, okay, I stole a boar, but I lost 1. Nicov actually steals a boar from his opponent, so really the only player that lost anything with this is SongSong. Now, why is laming good on this map? The reason why is because you can't really push in deer easily. All the deer is out here, you don't have it close to your base. So it's not like you compensate for a lost deer with, oh, the de-aggroes. The boar actually de-aggroes, and that's a disaster for BadBoy. He can't afford to have 2 hits on his scout, and he's really trying. Oh, he's really trying, but the boar is just so stubborn. The villager helplessly chasing. And almost. This is gonna be the longest lane that BadBoy has ever done. Okay, now it's gonna go back. It's the scout being chased though, so you still gotta be careful about this one. Voyager stops entirely, so this Voyager ends up being completely useless now. The boar will eventually get there. This is probably the hardest way to just make sure that you have 2 boars in a game. So You got the walls coming in here for Nicov. It appears that SongSong didn't try to counter-lame his opponent, so he's down one board. But MbL and BadBoy, at the end of the day, will get absolutely nothing from these lamings other than just a lot of APM used up for that. So, with that, MbL's already dropping farms over here. He didn't lure in his second boar. In fact, he didn't find two of his sheep. One thing that MbL doesn't really do when he is laming is, just scout his starting base. So you see he's down by 2 sheep. And I'm not sure why he's adding this many farms. I mean, it makes some sense if he's fast castling, but he still has some piggies here. He apparently killed a boar here right next to the mill. I'm now seeing it. It's hard to see the silhouettes behind the mill. The reason why he had so many villagers close to the mill is because he actually killed the boar over there that he lamed. MbL still without 2 of his sheep, but now brings in another boar close to the TC. Full walls for BadBoy, going for what will eventually be a fast castle build, I would think. He's got some nice gold mines. Stone mine isn't really great for him, as he finds his 2 piggies at the back just now. It looks like SongSong is mining a bit of a stone over here, interestingly. I don't think that this is actually meant to do anything. It's more about you sent the villager out here to wall this off, and then before sending it back, you actually gather something with it. So it's not going back empty-handed. So MbL will be fully walled soon as well. And Nicov will also be walled entirely, I believe. So, now it's fast castle times. Both teams just sitting back behind their walls. This wood lane could be problematic for SongSong. He's very heavy on wood, by the way. So heavy that you start asking questions. Obviously, you gotta go for some more farms with our green player. He did actually have to go for a lot of farms. So, more on wood seems to make sense, and this fast castle is actually 28-29 villagers, because it was delayed so much by the boar being lost. And as I said, getting deer in here is pretty hard. You can push in 1 or 2 deer, but you don't really have time for more. So we are gonna have that. Did BadBoy lose villagers? He lost 1. MbL blocked the boar villager. Yes. So at the end, let's summarize Dark Age. BadBoy lamed MbL, MbL lamed BadBoy. So those cancel out. But BadBoy lost more HP on his scout. BadBoy lost the villager trying to lure in a boar that MbL blocked. But BadBoy now took away 2 piggies from MbL. Other side, Nicov lamed the boar from SongSong that didn't go punished, so he's got a boar advantage. That's why SongSong is this heavy on farms. That's why he's going 28 fast castle. So, with that, we are gonna have Fuel H coming in here for MbL first. That's actually 27 FC. With no villagers being added to stone. I would think it could be just... it's probably just going to be knights, although it's gonna be a market blacksmith up because it didn't make a barracks. A market on the way and be a little bit low on wood, so that blacksmith will be delayed by a tiny bit. This might be a +3 villagers up indeed. Other side, we will have villagers being sent to stone, so BadBoy actually is going for war wagons immediately. And camel archers. Interesting. It's a camel archer play from SongSong. It's direct camel archers, in fact. So double unique unit play here. Nicov is going to play camels most likely. And here's the problem. War wagons and camel archers against gods. I mean, at this point, MbL is not on stone. But it's not like gods will never go for Huskars. So if you go for double unique unit, neither camel archers nor war wagons are capable of stopping the Huskars. And you see that BadBoy isn't certain MbL is not on stone. I think he will see the stone mine and he will be able to see that MbL is not on it. So with that, He knows very, very well that, alright, my opponent is not on stone. But if he was on stone, they would already be in trouble, because camel archers and war wagons would just die to Huskars, basically. Still, the element of surprise will definitely be there for BadBoy and SongSong, because I don't think that MbL+Nicov know about that stone mine. Indeed, if you take a look at that, they don't know about that stone mine, so they will be surprised about the camel archers. The question is, where do you drop that castle? And I feel like you could actually gamble on trying to get it. Oh, they're castle dropping Nicov, or at least that's the plan. MbL will spot this. Nicov could make 2 or 3 scouts to slow this one down, but I am unsure if he can actually stop a castle. With that, we are gonna have Castle H coming in first for Nicov, and there's many ways that you can do this. I think you could just drop a castle in the middle, you could drop it on your side, but the idea is that you want to cut off Nicov from the gold. How close this castle will be dropped? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he's actually going to drop a castle in the face of Nicov. But SongSong? SongSong? Now that is not the way that this should work out. He's gonna drop the castle, but unless he has some good quick walls. Quick gate coming in. Remember, these are Indian camels, so they actually get through buildings, and Nicov didn't know. Nicov didn't notice. He might have seen the villagers, but he didn't notice the castle. Oh no, now he sees it. And as I said, it's Indian camel, so they actually get through those walls very easily. It's also hard to quick wall. That gate is the weak spot. That gate is super duper weak. That's a little bit sloppy from SongSong. And disaster piece, so to say. Like, palisade walls won't stop Indian camels, but you can still wall your villagers in here. The castle with 2 villagers at 50%. Can you actually get that castle up though? Nope. Well, it looks like he underestimated Nikov's castle time, but let's call this a ballsy castle. Because this shouldn't have ever gone up, and MbL, oh, he's also getting castle dropped. Welcome to the game, MbL. And also Tower Rush coming in from BadBoy. The difference is, it looks like that was the plan. That's why they went Berbers and Koreans. The idea was not what unit composition we make, the idea was with double castle drop the opponent. The problem is that while it worked out for BadBoy, it didn't work for SongSong. So now it's towers coming in towards MbL. MbL is actually on 2 TCs, he's on stone, and if he's able to get a castle up, he's gonna be able to stop this one. But 9 on stone, only 100 stone in the bank, and there's already guard towers coming in, the free guard tower upgrade coming in clutch for our Korean player. This castle, for now, won't be deleted by SongSong, but what is he gonna do exactly? Like, he's just gonna boom here, apparently. For now, Nicov is playing 1 TC, so that boom actually could work out. Eventually, you have to delete this castle, and you have to be careful, because those camels have anti-building bonus, so they would just steamroll your base really fast, and I have to say that BadBoy is really surprising MbL here. It is double TC play from him, so his eco is actually fairly decent behind this one. MbL has a massive eco lead, but that is because MbL is on 3 TCs. MbL at 300 stone, clock is ticking for BadBoy, because if MbL drops a defensive castle somewhere around over here, he should be good to go. And there isn't really much that can do damage here to buildings. There's the battering ram coming in, MbL at 380, he's 14 on stone, he knows the importance of that, and the camels will head this way as well. So with that, we're gonna have war wagons here, but the war wagons don't have +2 attack. These Indian camels currently have a 2 pierce armor, bloodlines just now in. MbL, 500 stone in the bank. I don't think they can finish MbL off here right now. The question is, what is SongSong going to do, because he's doing a 3 TC boom, that's it. That's basically it. We're gonna have the war wagons getting cleaned up, I believe, and It looks like maybe if the double castle drop works, it would have been a different scenario. But now it is 16 army against 5, 20 military or 20 villager lead, and MbL is able to afford defensive castle. In fact, it's already coming up over there. It's a nice castle because it secures the gold mine, takes down 2 towers, and secures this TC as well. So now it's Manganos coming in. Indian Cam was trying to help out against the towers as well. Still, this part of MbL's eco is very exposed, but MbL is getting close to a second defensive castle. And have I mentioned that Korean war wagons are bad against Huskars? Because they are. They're actually pretty bad overall. Still 3 DCs for SongSong. It looks like he just wants to go for a full boom. He's still on stone. So I wonder if he will actually attempt another castle drop in the face of Nicov, hoping to make the game chaotic. It definitely seems like Vietnam knows that with standard strategies they don't really win. So they go for some super aggressive and wacky strategies. Like you could see the double fast castle on Arabia. And this one as well. They know exactly they can't really play standard. They gotta go for some more aggressive decisions and some more aggressive plays over here. For now, this castle for MbL though isn't going up. And war wagons can survive a lot of punishment around here. And the camels from Nicov went back. If the camels were here, they would clean this up. But there is no camels here. And that means that MbL isn't able to get this castle up just now. War wagons still taking quite a lot of punishment over here. And what's the plan for SongSong? He's able to afford a castle in a moment. But yeah, Nicov just pinged the position of his camels. So I wonder if MbL asked, hey, where are your camels at, bro? I need them. The guard tower is actually going to help quite a bit as well, stopping that castle, and MbL is getting closer and closer to a doubt castle here, because that's just not going up. I mean, eventually he might be able to get it up, but that's going to be quite a lot of villagers giving their life for that castle over there. Now MbL is going to commit to that. It is going to be sort of a proper doubt castle, though. It is going up. MbL lost quite a lot of villagers, but he's still ahead above everybody else, so I guess here it was worth it for him. It wasn't really great. He lost quite a lot of villagers. He has lost, actually, only 6 villagers. I'm impressed. It seemed like it was way more. For 6 villagers, this was definitely worth it. I mean, it would have been even worth it for 10 or 12, but 6 villagers is actually ideal, so to say. So Cam was now melting down the base of SongSong over here. He is trying to get the monasteries, but this is the sort of standard boom into GG play. And how are you planning to get that castle up there, my friend? Pulling 5 villagers? Hold on. Hold on. BadBoy is trying to get TC up over here. MbL trying to deny that with some monks converting. And it looks like now it will be the famous and well-renowned pikemen of Berbers. But 5 villagers castle drop in the middle against about 20 camels. And by the way, there's gonna be like 20 Huskars on the field in a moment. Is not going to be great. Nicov also on the way to Imperial Age. So, champion. Now, Berber champion is great, but it's not particularly amazing against camels. It looks like BadBoy is going to just rush up a bunch of villagers here for potentially a TC or something. This is like a kamikaze outpost here. This is like a super kamikaze outpost. I mean, the camels are just now coming back. What are you doing, BadBoy? If he loses all those villagers, he will soon turn into a sad boy, but... Oh, here's the castle drop. Here's the castle drop. Let's see if Nicov sees that. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay, he shouldn't see that. And that means that the castle could very well go up, and do not underestimate the castle's importance in the middle, especially with SongSong also going into Imperial. Now that is gonna be a TC that is stopped over there. And, well, how do you stop Indian camels? They take down your buildings. If it was other camels, you could actually make a case for just, you know, trying to sit behind your TCs because TCs will slowly eat them, but Indian camels just take down buildings quite fast. Over here, Huskars eating the castle of a BadBoy. Still, this castle goes up. So, it's gonna be longswords. versus Camels and Huskars, and I would think that if this is the case and Nicov sees all those longswords, he should just go for Cav Archer. I mean, Berbers can go Camel Archer, but MbL is on a full rampage. He's going to drop a castle in the face of his opponent. He's like, I'm gonna show you how to drop castles, man. Imperial Age coming in as well for SongSong, taking into Champion, but as long as the fighting isn't going on in the middle, the mobility advantage of those champions or those Camels and Huskars could be dominant. 67 army against 13. We don't even have to look at anywhere else, to be honest. It is only +1 defense from SongSong. MbL's got quite decent upgrades, and the Vietnamese team taps out. The double castle drop not working out for them. Or at least BadBoy taps out. SongSong didn't say GG yet. He still believes in his swordsman, but I feel like that's just a temporary thing. Nicov casually yoinking a relic from the other side of the map, and Aftermath takes over. Okay, so let's summarize this. Double castle drop, an absolute disaster for SongSong. Worked out to an extent from BadBoy, but he wasn't able to stop the opponent's castle. And guess what? Against Goths, neither Camel Archers or War Wagons would work nicely. Maybe they didn't expect... I honestly think that they didn't expect Goths here, to be honest. Because you wouldn't assume Goths being picked on such a map. We had a crazy start, by the way, with all those lanes. But with that, we have a massive eco lead for Nicov and MbL. BadBoy obviously went for the castle drops, but it is what it is. Alright. So... with that, we'll actually get into game number 4 of the set. And that is going to be the other home map of Vietnam, Team Acropolis. So, with that, we'll actually jump into game number 4. So, Team Acropolis, we have Chinese, Khmer, Sicilians, Burmese left on Vietnam's side, Mayans, Incas, Teutons, Vikings left. I don't think Vikings is something that you would want to use here, so it's Mayans, Teutons, I would assume. Other side is most likely Khmer with Burmese, maybe. Alternative would be Burmese Rambai and then use Chinese and archers and leave Khmer Sicilians for Forest Pond. That's also a possibility. So with that, we will actually get going with the next game of the set. Could be the final game over here for Vietnam B. And it looks like we will have... oh my lord. Oh my lord, Aftermath is going for the wacky Civ picks now. Holy smokes. Well, it's gonna be an Incas and Mayans matchup, as you will notice in a moment. Team Acropolis, a map that yielded some crazy games in the qualifiers. We have seen elite cannon galleons with artillery on this pond. We have... BadBoy and SongSong on the right side with Chinese in blue and Burmese in green, so it's Rambai and Arbalest most likely. Other side will be MbL as, once again, keeps playing yellow. He played red on Arabia, but I would just keep switching him back to red because for consistency reasons. So, Mayans for MbL in red, and we'll have Incas for Nicov in yellow. It is undoubtedly an interesting Inca and Mayan combination, double mezzo, which means that you don't really have a cavalry civ, but you have to add that Eldorado Eagles are actually very, very good as a sort of a cavalry-ish unit. And the thing is that if you think about that, Chinese don't have Paladin. Against Paladins, Eldorado Eagles would be troublesome, but against Cavalier civs, especially considering that it's Burmese, and Chinese will most likely be going for archers, I would think that the Eldorado Eagles can work quite nicely. The alternative indeed is that Nicov is just going to go for a super aggressive Fuel Age play, as he is bringing in his first board just now. And then that allows MbL to just boom into plumed archers or eagles whatsoever. Could be Mayan eagles alongside Inca arbalest play, or it could be Inca eagles as well, and supported by plumed archers. That could be the case as well. And if you are BadBoy and SongSong, I feel like you might need to play Arambai and Cavalier. Because Arambai sort of works as your ranged counterpart, but you don't really want to go for archers with Chinese because of the potential for eagles from the opponent. So I feel like Arambai Cavalier might be the composition here for our Vietnamese team. Nice lumber camp at the back for them. Other lumber camp is even better for SongSong, who's 4 on wood. Actually bumped into a wolf here, so one of those villagers are very, very weak. Nicov, on the other hand, he's going only on 2 on wood. Oh no. Oh no. What has life done to Nicov to make him into an Inca Veer Rusher? Gaia actually trying to lame that villager over there. But eventually the second board will come in for Nicov. So... oh man. Nicov just gonna go for Inca Villager Rush. This is the era where Nicov, who is really... in the community there is super aggressive players like VV or... I don't know. ACCM used to be super aggressive. You can talk about Hoang. But there is other players that we thought they are just, you know, super chill, super standard, not gonna take risks type of players. Oh yeah, Lix, you're right. I forgot about Lix indeed. How could I forget about Lix? I mean, the super aggro player of the Chinese team. But... and then there is people like Nicov that we just think that, you know, they're standard players, they're nice and chill. But no. Nicov is like, okay, we're gonna go aggro here. This composition is something that works really well for the Chinese team, by the way. One player, Lix, being super aggressive, and the other player, Mr. Yo, booming like a madman and then finishing games off. This is a nice 1-2 punch from the Chinese team over there. And with that, we are gonna have the villagers being brought in here. I'm gonna have to talk to Nicov about this one. It's like, Nicov, these decisions... I mean, I'm not against it, I'm just feeling like... I mean, I know Nicov as well quite a bit because I got some coaching from Nicov, so I know his thinking process so well, and this is why, for me, it's so awkward to see Nicov Veer rushing. I firmly remember, I talked to Nicov before, I think either during or before King of Desert Free about this one, and he said he doesn't like to tower rush because that's a big gamble and it's very risky that you just lose the game. And guess what? Half a year later, Nicov is just going full villager rush, and I remember that in Hidden Cup qualifiers, indeed he did this as well. Docks. Drop a dock, Nicov. For style points. What are you guys up to? Okay, they were just chilling, taking a suntan here at the edge of the pond. Alright. So, villagers trickling in one by one over here to make it much easier for the opponent to spot. We haven't talked about BadBoy and SongSong right now, but it looks like BadBoy is going for 22 pop straight archers. Although, wait a second, it's 22 pop but with Chinese, so it might be scouts, and indeed it's scouts from BadBoy. Whereas for SongSong, it looks like he wants to go for a fast castle. And this one, as here comes the first tower. Now, against an Inca Veer Rush, the archer defense is actually slightly better. than a scout's defense, because scouts just die to the villagers. Over here, you got blacksmith already up, going for a scale mail, and it looks like MbL is gonna add some men-at-arms to this one himself. So that's gonna be some added value there too. And what did Nicov do here? Did he just try to Palisade hop a tree? I think Nicov might have tried Palisade hopping a tree, but that wasn't actually part of the wall. Villagers bashing their way through the walls, but that's not going to be enough. Quick walls are in just in time. Another tower comes in here for Nicov. Hans also then drops another one over there. Men-at-arms soon arriving for MbL. And with that, scouts being added just now by BadBoy. He's up to 2 scouts, but he still needs some more time for some additional numbers. By the way, BadBoy is playing with a very, very open south, so all this work from Nicov to get through the walls is essentially useless because his opponent is very, very open from the south. So men-at-arms now bashing their way through these walls. BadBoy will actually try to add a layer behind, but that's not gonna happen. And men-at-arms are actually very, very good against those scouts as well. Oh boy, here it comes. Nicov doesn't have the attack upgrade, he only has the defense upgrade right now on those villagers. He also doesn't have wheelbarrow, so that is something to consider. Villager rush coming in right now. The tower goes up, but villagers will immediately start attacking the bottom of it. And the other tower should have no trouble going up either. Scouts trying to poke and probe, picking off the villagers, slowing this push down as much as possible, and honestly, Nicov pulled a lot of villagers here, and that's something to keep in mind. So 8 villagers being pulled. If this push stalls out, that's going to have a big impact on his eco. It looks like they will have to bail out with this tower for our cold color team. Contingency walls coming in right now for a SongSong, who goes for a defensive tower on his stone mine. The scouts might actually intercept this army here, and that would be a reasonable trade because you want to finish off those men-at-arms. And now it's an archer from MbL. It's only one archer though, villagers trying to rush up on the berries. Still, you have to consider that BadBoy has safe wood income. He's able to continuously produce scouts more or less. And behind this one, SongSong's fast castle wasn't slowed down by that much. Still, that's 7 villagers on the field now. MbL's archers are coming in as well. Defensive tower though, coming up just in time to once again slow this one down. And the only problem that SongSong is facing is that he's gonna be up to castle age, but he's gonna have no stone income currently. Archers from MbL, they just walked past here, and they're now pressuring SongSong's gold mine. Contingency was once again up for our green player, who is still far away from castle age. He had to pretty much invest. What did he even do with his gold? He was very low on gold, maybe just idle time on those villagers. Another tower comes in here from Nicov. This tower is something that Nicov bails out on, so you can just go back to stone, and you need to counter tower this one. I believe SongSong might see that tower coming up. Nope. SongSong doesn't see that tower, but he's probably expecting it because he's dropping a tower over here. Still, I think both towers will go up. SongSong still not close to castle age as the tower goes up. Or is it going up? Is it going up? It will go up. There is one villager going down, a second one won't fall. So this is delaying the castle age of SongSong quite heavily though, and that's something to consider. And now MbL is thinking about castle age himself. If you look at those resources, that's looking pretty decent for castle age. Scouts from BadBoy will now try to intercept these archers, and if they are capable of doing that, then MbL isn't really gonna have reinforcements in here. Castle age on the way for SongSong, 5 on stone. If he gets a castle up, they are fine, but that's a very, very big if. Still, being able to intercept archers like that is very, very good value for those scouts, because you want to lower MbL's archer numbers as much as possible. Defensive tower coming in on the gold mine of BadBoy as well, as SongSong has 10 on stone, so he wants an immediate castle, and that probably goes up some round over here to clean up these towers. A couple of scouts checking up on MbL, who's also going up to Castle Age, 20 seconds behind compared to SongSong in here. Archers trying to get through these walls, and SongSong is off from this gold mine. He's gonna have to go for another gold mine, but where exactly? SongSong doesn't have any reasonable gold income, which is troublesome at minimum. The scouts here are trying to get some more archer picks, but spearmen now out for MbL, so that won't really work out, as we will have 1 minute away from MbL and just 30 seconds for SongSong for Castle Age, but that's a very, very weak wall. And now Panic could actually start hitting SongSong here, because that wall could go down really fast. And Nicov just keeps making more towers. The castle is almost here for SongSong. But even if the castle goes up, he doesn't actually have the resources to continuously make a run by to clean this one up. And when MbL reaches Castle Age, he's gonna have crossbows, and early crossbows are great at dealing with earlier run by. Later on, when run by have good numbers, they just kill archers. But early on, that's not really the case. SongSong also has a lot of villager bumping here, so that slows down his progress towards a castle. And he's gonna drop a castle here on the gold mine. So with that, we are gonna have the castle going up here that takes down 2 towers at a minimum. And it looks like SongSong keeps villagers on stone, so it's gonna be double castle run by from him. Castle Age on the way as well for BadBoy. And this is where things could get rough for Nicov and MbL. Because Nicov is getting close to picking up to Castle Age as well. But what is MbL going to do? He's gonna play crossbows. Knights and a run by should be able to beat a crossbow play fairly easily. I would say so. Here is the castle being finished. And that means that Nikov's armies, or Nikov's villagers, it's not really an army, could get trapped really heavily. The scout will spot the crossbows, which is extremely important. SongSong can actually rush up a tower, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that is not gonna go up. I think MbL is gonna spot the tower, and he will just camp beneath it. If MbL looks here, he can stop this tower. Nice quick walls from SongSong. Tries to prevent the crossbows from running below it, and it actually works out well. That was a nice one from him. Loses 1 villager in the process, but keeps that wood line alive, which is extremely important. At this stage, another defensive tower coming in from BadBoy. A run by, not coming in just yet for SongSong. He isn't able to afford it. Look at those resources. He had trouble accessing wood, he had trouble accessing gold, so that's why there is no run by. And this tower could be somewhat troublesome now for BadBoy. Another villager gets picked off from SongSong, he's down to 37. Castle Age on the way as well for Nicov, who will probably switch into Eagles at this point, although he doesn't really have any army, so he might just transition to a boob. Knights out now with only +1 defense and bloodlines, but defensive towers helping quite a lot. So now the Knights could jump into Nikov's villagers, and this would be a disaster for a yellow player. Oh boy, that's a big disaster. There is no one helping them. And yeah, Nicov is going to be up in Castle Age, but his eco is going to be very weak at the end, if you think about that. He's going to go down to something like 35-ish villagers. And now it's a fairly steady production of a run-by, and Nikov's woodline is completely undefended. This sort of army gets cleaned up, and if you look at the overall villager count, it's dead even. And army numbers, slightly better for MbL's team, but he's got crossbows. If +2 defense comes in for those knights, they can actually clean that up fairly easily. 4 villagers coming in here from SongSong. There's a chance for forward siege workshop, or potentially just a forward castle drop, to be honest. Because if you look at the stone count for SongSong, he can think about the castle drop on the opponent if they want to go super aggressive, or I'm by now hitting the wood line of Nicov. Crossbows will try to chase, but the movement is quite limited here for MbL. You see that SongSong sees there is the crossbows here, which means that the knights from BadBoy are free to rampage MbL's eco. There is some extra hunt here on this valley, which means that you can actually take down some extra boars for some food, free TCs for MbL, and oh, that's so bad for SongSong. The 4 villagers get intercepted by the crossbows, so that siege workshop has to be cancelled. And the other thing to point out is that the knights aren't here to clean up the crossbows, and you need the knights to clean up crossbows. If these knights hit +2 defense, jump on those crossbows, suddenly MbL loses his entire army. But still, the amount of Arumbai don't really impress me. SongSong can afford another castle, but he can't really afford to go for double castle Arumbai production right now, it seems. His eco isn't really enough for that, and that's a bad decision from BadBoy, to be honest. He sent in 4 knights and 3 of them just left to the left. So, with that, now they will try to jump on that army with the knights and the Arumbai. So, really, still on stone, but the only way that you would still keep 10 on stone is with a castle drop, and I feel like that is gonna be a castle drop attempted. If you would drop a castle here, that would be pretty devastating to MbL's eco, to be honest, who is on 4 TCs. Nicov is also on 4 TCs. It looks like SongSong has different plans. SongSong has different plans. He is going to drop a castle right in the face of Nicov. So now it's the knight's time, and this is the time that you actually fight this. Although it's tricky because if you lose your army here, you won't be able to secure the forward castle, so it's a dangerous move, especially with those crossbows fighting down hills here. Knights get a good surround, and this is the time to shine. They should be able to clean up these crossbows, and that's not something that MbL wanted to see. But there is a couple of monks here, and this castle drop might not actually work out. It looks like the monks will jump back into the TC. Still, a castle drop here could work out, but MbL has a huge army of crossbows coming in. And are we gonna see another doubt castle? Nicov going for the defensive castle himself in here, as those towers are still shooting at the knights. No one really bothering to clean them up for now. Eco much better for Aftermath. 137 against 110. So their transition to Castle Age was just very clean. SongSong still disturbingly low Arumbai numbers. They actually want to go for a super aggressive play, but they can't really do that. There is another castle attempted here from SongSong. Won't actually happen because a house is being built here from Nicov. I wonder if this is intentional or just a random luck here, but no, this is intentional. He's building houses here because he knows that this is the TC that they want to castle drop. That was very nice perception there from Nicov, denying 2 castles, and SongSong is struggling to find a place to castle drop. Monks will be picked off by the knights here, but the villagers are just standing there chilling. We have some knights raiding the eco of MbL, but a big crossbow block counterattacks BadBoy's base. Still, it looks like we're gonna have a... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, don't tell me. Don't tell me. That castle drop. Funnily enough, this is the least important TC for Nicov. There is no farming around it, there is no resources around it, basically. So this castle feels scary, but it's not actually that bad for Nicov. I mean, a castle here would have been a disaster for Nicov, losing 2 TCs and the wood line. This one is like, eh. Nicov tries to counter tower this, as you have a forward siege workshop coming in here for BadBoy. Crossbow still trying to rampage the eco of BadBoy over here. Still 40 villagers lead for Aftermath, as the castle is gonna go up. Arumbai gets converted, but the monk does go down. This random mangon was taken out of the house, don't ask me why. And as things stand, the main problem that our Vietnamese team is facing is that they are outnumbered 2-1 in army numbers, and 50 villagers deficit for the Vietnamese team. MbL has a crazy boom, 99 villagers, and really, these moves from Nicov were super important. If this would be a castle here, this would be a completely different game with Nicov not having wood. Kamayuks! This is the time to sell out my own channel over here, because one of my subscriber emotes is a Kamayuk, so you can spam such things if you have access to them. If not, then channel points are also capable of unlocking these emotes, so you can spam some Kamayuks. Over there, MbL runs past the TC over here as BadBoy is trying to trap it as much as possible. You gotta wonder if this is a good trade though for BadBoy. He kills a couple of crossbows but loses quite a lot of villagers here as well. Mangonels are out for BadBoy as this siege workshop stays up for the time being. It looks like SongSong has no more stone for another castle, so he's not going to drop another castle here. They have to finish this game really fast as the Kamayuks are now being unleashed. Look at those majestic warriors with these super pokes. They are just here to step down the Mangonels. And really, it's still just 7 around by. That's the problem. SongSong's around by numbers aren't really looking great. So, loses the Mangonel here as well. And their push just seems to be going nowhere. Unless this is a very long game, they won't be able to come back in here. If it's a super long game, where they have time to reboom, this could still be a chance for them. But they need to drag this out to at least an hour, I would say, to have a chance, and they need to do some crazy booming to make it happen. That being said, the Knights will intercept the crossbows here, as the crossbows line up very, very nicely for the Scorpion shots. Scorpion apparently refusing to cooperate, but still, MbL loses quite a lot of crossbows there, and don't underestimate BadBoy+'s Knight numbers, because one thing that Vietnam has is mobility. Big ram push coming in here from MbL. The Mangonels should be able to help out a tiny bit. Kamayuks will be there to poke down villagers that are trying to repair. And really, you need a Mangonel to take down those rams. Kamayuks garrisoning inside the battering rams, but as I said, just a Mangonel, and you can take that down fairly easily. Now it's going to be a ram trying to push that Mangonel down. First ram is actually gonna be taken down, but there is more coming in from MbL, and the battering ram takes down the Mangonel, which means this castle is also going down. That Mangonel was so crucial, because that was the key to save this castle. Now it's no longer possible. Vietnam is behind by 70 villagers, and Imperial Age is soon coming in here for Nicov. Their unit composition in Imp is still a question, but I mean, they're definitely controlling this game. That being said, that's still quite a lot of scary Cavalier from BadBoy, who's also 94 villagers. If this actually is a very, very long game, Vietnam might have a shot, but I feel like there's gonna be a solid 3-4 minutes for MbL and Nicov to finish this game and win it before their opponents have any chance of rebooming. That's a nice cavalry raid from our Vietnamese team, but they're still behind by 60. So, with that, now the Knights go down over here to the TC fire. These Knights that did have +2 defense, but still died rather easily. And, I mean, these raids are nice, but they don't actually compensate for this big deficit. As, right now, it looks like BadBoy's just gonna flood the cavalry over here. He's at 100 villagers. SongSong needs to keep adding massive eco, though, because 69 villagers after 40 minutes is not really amazing. It looks nice, I admit, but you probably want more villagers at this stage of the game. What are Rambai classified as? Infantry? They are a cav archer. So the best way to fight a Rambai is staggered formation foot archers, or cav archers work very nicely as well. Obviously, cav archers is not an option for meso civs, but either eagles can work, or just run into Kamayuks with all your Rambai and lose all of them. That's not something that should have happened. So Imperial Age is actually on the horizon for both BadBoy and SongSong, but they still need quite a lot of time, and Nicov now unleashes. Nicov now unleashes the Kamayuks, and Kamayuks train really fast, so don't underestimate the power of Kamayuks. Also, they look really amazing, so one of my favorite units. Probably after Tarkan, my second favorite unique unit is Kamayuk. And I appreciate Nicov going for that with all those star points. Imperial Age on the way for SongSong, but 71 villagers only. He's apparently obsessed with castle drops in this one, but today his castle drops were of dubious success. BadBoy is gonna click up as well. Really, if SongSong had like 40 more villagers, this would still be a possibility. But without that, that just feels so awkward. Still, mobility is on the side of BadBoy and SongSong, so they just need to raid their way back into the game, which is easier said than done. But as I said, both MbL and Nicov have a slow-moving army, so keep raiding with the Knights, intercepting reinforcements, hitting gold mines. That's your best bet. It looks like Nicov is actually going to jump on the Doubt Castle train here, having one of his castles cancelled. So it's gonna be another castle here, and immediately upon reaching Imperial, Nikov's gonna start making trebs, because he knows exactly he needs to take those castles down. If the Burmese lose their castles, they're just completely useless, so to say. as the Aramba are now trying to take down some of those Kamayuks. They will find a couple of Voyager picks on that castle, but I don't think they can stop it. Still, Kamayuks just marching left and right. Coinage coming in from BadBoy. BadBoy is at 15 knights only though, so it's 100 military against 35. 23 Kamayuks on the field, 69 crossbows for MbL, very nice as well. And it looks like BadBoy has some sneaky Voyagers. I wonder if BadBoy wants to sneak a castle here on the opponent. Arbalest soon coming in for MbL. Eventually he might switch to Arbalest and then Plumed Archer, but lead Kamayuk for Nicov. Lead Kamayuk, man. It looks like it's just Stone Walls, so they're actually preparing for a late game scenario here, walling off this corner for potential trade for themselves, and I would assume they would try to contest the other corner as well, just to make sure that they're able to deny any kind of trade from the opponent. Imperial Age is in for SongSong, but he loses his castle over here. And on the other side, these Voyagers all died. A TC here in the middle gets absolutely molten by all those Arbs. They don't have Obsidian Arrows anymore, but it doesn't really matter either. They just take this TC down so fast. A castle comes in here for BadBoy, going for Scaleboarding and Cavalier. That could still be dangerous, especially with the Rambai running around over here. So Vietnam is not gonna give up on this easily, and I did mention that the only way back into this game for them is a very long game. It has to be awfully long so that they can catch up in eco. They're actually slowly catching up, and they're killing quite a lot at the back of Aftermath's base, but still only 82 Voyagers for SongSong. The Cavalier will now hit MbL's base, so really there will be a need for Nikov's Kamayuks, and I'm not sure how SongSong and BadBoy will stop this push. That's the main problem that they're facing. That it's one thing that you are actually going to raid the opponent's eco here, trying to force an engagement, but they would just steamroll you with Kamayuks and Arbalests. So another castle goes up for our green player, but these might also go down here. Light Cav being teched into by BadBoy, and that's a very bad sign. Light Cav being teched into here means that they're running out of gold. MbL is losing quite a lot of Voyagers, but I mean, it's 77 Arbs still for them. Kamayuks, look at them poking down that TC over there. Kamayuks with Arson are dangerous, man. Look at this. Look at this. How does this even look like? Just Kamayuks poking down at TC. Kamayuks actually have pretty decent pierce armor, especially if you get fabric shields for them. As they take down the TC over here, the castle is engulfed in flames. And what is the Burmese player going to do now? Like, you don't have a Ramba, you don't have anything to work with, and unless this cavalry raid does a lot of damage, this is an insurmountable lead for AM. And AM, after losing Arabia, they actually secure 3 wins in a row to turn this one back into a free one. An excellent series, I would say. This game was a little one-sided, maybe the previous one as well, but the Arabia game was actually a pretty nice one. And I don't even know what the second game was, but we had some fun games over here as MbL+Nicov win 3-1. In this one, they will move to the winner's game of their group, and Vietnam B goes to the loser's game.